Welcome to Life Picks Relationships, helping you understand and enliven your marriage through the various perspectives and experiences of others who found a way to prioritize what's really important in life. From new love to those that have weathered the storms, let's get ready to take your relationships to the next level with your host, ST.
Hey Life Fixers, hope you're having an awesome day. Are you noticing people with ADHD in a slightly different way? Are you understanding them better and realizing why they do things the way they are? If not, you probably haven't listened to the previous episode with Marcy, and you'll want to listen to that as soon as you finish listening to this one. For today, we've got another couple. Yay! You know how much I love couples, and this couple has been together for 12 years and been through a lot of challenges together. I am so excited to be speaking with them. Thank you so much, Lindsay and Spencer, Duet, for being here. Guys, if you are a Harry Potter fan, you are going to want to check out Lindsay's new podcast, all about Harry Potter. You could go to her podcast website at potterykagipodcast.com. I'm going to put all our links in the show notes so you can go and find them. I know my brother, a huge Harry Potter fan, is going to love it. So you might want to go and check it out too. Thank you so much, Lindsay and Spencer, for being here. You want to start by telling us how you guys met?
So this was back in 2008. I was working at a restaurant as a hostess, and he picked up an order, and I wrote my number on the receipt, and then we started texting, and it went from there.
So cool. So did you do that all the time, or was it just with him?
No, I did not do that all the time.
I just had to ask that.
No, I had never done that before.
Were you like, what was your feelings that you felt while you were doing it?
I think I was like a little nervous, but I'm also relatively just confident in general. So I was like, well, whatever happens, happens. I wasn't that freaked out by it, but because it wasn't something that I regularly did, it was a little weird for me.
Yeah, well, I like that confidence, that courage to help you. I'm sure it helped in a lot of other areas of your life, right?
Yeah, I would say so. I definitely am really outgoing, and that's a nice thing that's helped me, I guess, in my career and otherwise. That's a nice thing that's helped me in my career and otherwise.
Yeah. Now, were you always like that, or was it something that you developed later on?
Your mom has always said that you've been like that.
Yeah. My mom likes to say that I came out exactly like I am, and I just had to learn how to like talk and do all the life things. But yeah, I've pretty much been like the same person at my core since I was really young.
Wow. Okay. Now, how has your relationship changed from 2008 until now?
Obviously, we've gotten more mature, and
We've definitely, we've gone through a lot together. Our lives have changed a lot, obviously, from the time that we were teenagers to now. We've gone through basically going from kids to adults together. Yeah, that's changed. And then, like he said, we're older, and so we're settled down now than we were, obviously, when we were, teenagers and in college.
Did you think you first had to change as a person and then it affected your relationship, or you had to specifically work on changing your relationship?
I don't think we had to work on it. It was just, we kind of just grew together.
Yeah, I think we both grew as, individuals, just like you do when you mature and get older. And I think that as we matured, our relationship also, grew with us. I honestly don't think that we've ever had to work too hard on our relationship. It's always just been really like natural as we've gone through.
What's your secret to that?
We just get along. I don't know.
Yeah, we're like best friends, and we communicate with each other a lot. Like we talk about things. And I think that sometimes people, we've been together for 12 years. And so sometimes I think when people have been together a long time, they kind of just like, oh, I already know that person. I don't need to ask questions. But we talk about things all the time. We've gone on drives for like 3 hours and not even turn on the radio because we just like talk the whole time. So I think that
when you say talking, what type of things do you talk about? Are there like types of questions, or what do you mean? Let's get very specific so people listening who don't do that could learn from you.
Okay, well, one thing I guess I should say is we do not actually live together most of the time.
I mean, we live in the same house, but I work out of town.
Yeah. So like day to day, he's not always here. So obviously when we're talking, we talk every day about like what happened that day and everything like that. But we do also do like, have more serious conversations about how we're feeling. And I mean, one time recently, I found this little article about like 50 questions to ask your significant other. And so like we went through and asked all of them, even though some of them we definitely already knew the answers to, but it was just like a fun thing to do. We talked about like long-term and short-term goals and things like that. So yeah, I mean, I think that it's, obviously we have the mundane everyday, this is what I did today kind of talk, but then we also do talk about, more serious things and make sure that we know where each other stands on things.
Yes, you're talking about the serious and the deep and the like really getting to know each other. I like that you don't make any assumptions, always asking questions, always trying to know. Now, how does the fact that you work out of town affect your marriage for better and for worse?
Definitely hard to be away all the time. I mean, we don't get to see each other every day. And sometimes we try not to go more than 2 weeks without seeing each other. Luckily, right now, I'm a little closer to home, so I'm able to come home every weekend, which is why I'm able to do this today. And
I mean, I definitely think, it's interesting because, obviously I have other friends that are married and they, see their husbands every day. And that's definitely something that, we would enjoy. But at the same time, I think that there is something to like missing each other that is valuable. Like we're not constantly in each other's space. So I don't even know what that would be like at this point, but I don't think that I would get sick of him, but I don't even have the chance to know because, every time that we spend together is really valuable because we don't always get that time.
Yeah, I appreciate every moment so much more.
yeah,
Right. And I also think that it is, I think in some ways it actually probably helps our communication because we're not just going through daily activities together all the time. Like we have to communicate, we have to talk or, we're not connecting at all. So we're talking every day and, talking about our days, how we're feeling that day and things like that. Whereas maybe if we were together, we would be just focusing on like, okay, we've got to cook dinner, we've got to do this and that. And we would maybe, I don't know, maybe that would be something that we would have to more actively try to do. Whereas because we're not together all the time, I feel like that comes pretty naturally to kind of, talk about everything and make sure that we know what's going on with the other person.
yeah.
Yeah. And for people listening, if most people do live together and they're lucky enough to have their partner with them all the time, but you could take those breaks of going on vacation separately or stuff like that, that you realize how much you miss each other and how much you really love each other, even though they do those really annoying things sometimes, that just makes you appreciate the relationship so much more. Now, do you ever see yourself like switching jobs or like, I don't know, when you retire at 65, like how that would affect your relationship or you don't think about that?
I mean, ultimately, yeah, I do want to work closer to home and we want to start a family soon. So, I mean, obviously when we have kids, I would like to be home every day. But for now, it's basically just about trying to save up money and do what I can to make a nice home for us right now and for the future, I guess.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you're doing a great job. So you don't think about like how it would affect your relationship. Like you think that you have a really strong base. So that way later on it will be fine.
I mean, I think it would be good.
Yeah, I mean,
he looks excited looking forward to it.
I mean, I think that it definitely would change things.
Yeah.
But one thing that I think is important and would still be important, when he does find a job that allows him to come home every day is, we're both pretty independent people. And I think that it's important to like have your own life and go places without the other person so that you have relationships that are outside of just your relationship. Yeah. And so we definitely, even when he is home for extended periods of time, we definitely do that. We spend time with people separately. Like there was one time he came home for Easter break and I wasn't even in the country. So And he, so he was home by himself and I wasn't even here. So I think that it's great to do things as a couple, but it's also, I think, important to do things by yourself so that
just give yourself some time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys have a really good balance. Like you're best friends and you enjoy every moment together, but at the same time, you don't forget your own self. You have your own lives. You're your own person. You're your own dreams. And when you come together, it just enhances it instead of taking away from it.
Yeah, I definitely think that that's important because, it is kind of easy to get caught up in a relationship and forget your own individual identity. And I think that that's definitely important. And I think that in some ways, us being apart has helped us, realize the value in that and having a great life together, but in also having our own lives, because I think that you have to find your happiness outside of the relationship as well. Obviously you want your partner to make you happy and he does, but he's not the only thing that makes me happy. And I think that that's important.
Also, if you would rely on him to be the only one that makes you happy, if he ever does anything that fails, like all of a sudden now, just bad emotions are up when you realize that, no, it's not his responsibility. Obviously, he affects it. And when he's around you, you feel happy, but it's not his responsibility. Then you couldn't go and be responsible for your own emotions and go and do things to make sure you're feeling happy.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, what would you have told yourself? Scratch that. What advice do you wish you would have gotten before you got married?
I don't know. We waited a while to get married, so it's hard to say.
Yeah, actually, we were together for 9 years before we got married.
Oh, wow.
We've only been married for 3 years.
Only.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a while, but in the scope of our relationship, it's not that long.
Yeah.
Most people that have been married for 3 years, maybe have been together for like 5 or 6, not 12. So it's honestly like it really has, the things that have been hard haven't been related to our relationship, just been related to like
things that have happened like on day to day. Like,
yeah, I mean, the pandemic.
So
and
what
things
do
like
you
that.
use? How does your relationship help you get through those challenges that are out of your relationship?
We definitely, support each other.
Yeah, it's just, if something's going on in her life, she can come to me and we'll talk about it. Like she can talk through it and I'll help her talk it out. And I mean, vice versa. If I have something going on, I mean, she's always there to listen to me, even if I'm not home, just a phone call away, or FaceTime, whatever.
Yeah, we definitely support each other through everything. And really our lives are so intertwined that if something is going on with me, it usually affects him too. So like, it might be primarily my thing or primarily his thing, but we go through it together and
it still has some effect on the other.
Yeah. So we definitely support each other and talk about what we're going through a lot. And I think that helps us kind of work through it mentally by talking it out together.
Your marriage sounds so perfect. Are there like any challenges or it's all just pure bliss?
Well, I would say our biggest challenge is really having to do with the fact that I have endometriosis. And so we want to have kids and that's been kind of a struggle. And throughout our relationship, it's posed different, issues. There were times when I was really sick, and he had to do more of the work as far as just like daily life. So I would say that's been a struggle, that we've had to go through just with me having those issues. And like I said, right now we're hoping to conceive, but me having that issue does impact that. And obviously that is something we've had to talk about a lot, how that makes both of us feel. And that's been something that we have to work through and keep working through, as we go through this process, because, it affects both of us, obviously. And so we both have different feelings that come up in relation to it. And so that's something that we have definitely worked through and are still working through as we continue through the process.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that working through it brings you closer together because you have to talk about those hard emotions and have these difficult conversations?
I mean, I would think so. I mean, if we didn't talk about it, then I don't know how we would get through it, or I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it definitely brings us closer together, because we're able to dive deep into this topic that is honestly, it is complicated because of the situation. It's a complicated thing, and so like you feel different emotions that, even if, like, for example, sometimes I feel guilty and I know that I shouldn't, and he's really understanding of that and really supportive and things like that. So there are hard emotions that come along with it, and I definitely think it brings us closer, dealing with that and going through that together.
Yeah. Now, do you use the 5 love languages in your marriage?
So recently I took the quiz and then I sent it to Spencer for him to take, which I knew he was going to be so excited about. And we actually got the same love language, which was quality time.
That's so hard with the situation that you're in.
Well, we even discussed, like, is that actually a product of our situation? Because if you think about how you answer the questions, they would ask questions like, which one would you prefer? Like a gift or a dinner? And I'm like, well, clearly I'll take a dinner with my husband over a present. Like, that's pretty easy choice. And so I think that our situation actually might have impacted the results of that. It's hard to even say if what our answers would have been in a different life situation.
Yeah, if we saw each other every day, it could have been, it probably would have been completely different. But since we value that quality time so much, then that's what happened. That's what we got.
Yeah. Well, you know that they can change. So hopefully one day when you do have your family and you are home every day, then you could take the quiz again and you could see, is it different? Is it the same? Sometimes it's like a mix. You'll have two that are really, really close together, and mixing the two of them together could make it even better. So there's no like hardcore rules about it, but I think it's really good. It puts people like in perspective and makes them realize, just helps them understand their partners even more.
Yeah, no, I love doing things like that.
Not so much.
Like we've done. He recently did the Myers-Briggs personality test for me, and I found that interesting. Yeah, no, I really find value in that, even if it's just like silly things, silly little quizzes. I think it's fun to like some little insight, because like I said,
to see like if you think they're right, and then like maybe that no, but that is really cool to understand, things like that. Also, like, really, it's first of all conversation. It brings a really good conversation and really helps you understand your partner better. Now, out of curiosity, what is your Myers-Briggs, both of you? Do you remember by heart?
No, I don't remember it off the top of my head. Well, I know that the one that I got was the one that's basically like a teacher. The protagonist is what they call it. I think it's...
Well, for you being a teacher, then.
Yeah. So that was kind of spot on.
Remember what mine was?
Yeah. Well, definitely he's the introvert and I'm the extrovert. I know.
If you can't tell already.
Yeah. Our phone conversations are a lot more me talking than him.
Yeah.
He's more of like what he says is more thought out and insightful, and I just say a bunch of things.
Do you ever feel like she's overpowering the relationship?
No, because it's just a good balance, I guess. Because if she's having a bad day, she can always just vent to me, and I'll be there to listen. And that was in our wedding vows. I said something like that. I don't ever think it's overpowering. It's just that's who she is. And
I love that. I love it so much. Good balance. Do you also make sure to go and vent to her when you have a bad day, or it's not even your type to want to go and do that?
I will, but it's not as long-winded of a conversation. It's short and to the point.
Like every man.
I guess.
Okay, so for our final question, how would you describe an extraordinary relationship without using these 3 words? Love, connection, and intimacy.
I would say that a good relationship has trust.
That was my first word I was going to use.
See, you're a married couple.
And I believe that comes from really good communication and also respecting your partner and
just understanding where they're coming from, trying to understand their point of view.
Yeah, I think that if you respect your partner and you are comfortable with the fact that your partner respects you, then you're comfortable opening up and communicating well, and you're also trusting that, you know, they're going to be there for you and be a good partner for you. And I think that makes two people have a stronger relationship.
Agreed.
Would you add to that?
Not really.
To the point, right? Trust.
Yeah. I mean,
says it all.
it's
Well,
just
awesome.
having a good bond. I mean,
Yeah. Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Lindsay and Spencer. This was amazing. I really appreciate you guys coming on together.
Yeah, thank you. It was fun.
That's all for this episode of Life Picks Relationships, and we have a huge favor to ask of you that will not only support this show, but also give others what they need to take their marriage to the next level. We're striving to have 1 million downloads per episode by December 31st, 2025, so please share it with your family and friends so they can turn their relationship into an extraordinary one.